These are the stories that Democrats and people that are weak on immigration, they don't want to discuss, they don't want to hear, they don't want to see, they don't want to talk about. No major network sent cameras to their homes or display the images of their incredible loved ones across the nightly news. They don't do that. They don't talk about the death and destruction.
That was President Trump earlier today, shedding light on the stories of those not often told in this debate. Our country's angel families, as they are known, because their loved ones were killed by people who were in this country illegally and should never have been here in the first place.
Everybody wants to blame, but the parents of those children are to blame.
None of our kids had a minute to say goodbye. We weren't lucky enough to be separated for 5 days or 10 days. We're separated permanently.
Our separation, like everybody has said, is permanent. Sarah never gets to go on to be a wife, a mother.
I brought my son. This is what I have left, his ashes. I wear his ashes in a locket. This is how I get to hug my son.
It was stunning today. We are not hearing those stories enough. And most of what is on TV is families talking about their heartbreak while they face separation temporarily at the border.
It's ugly to be separated from your kids without knowing what is going to become of them.
I feel helpless, she says. It's hard to hear someone you love suffering.
So here now are three angel moms who were at the event today: Marianne Mendoza, Laura Wilkerson, and Agnes Gibney. Ladies, thank you. I watched this afternoon. It was a very moving ceremony. And, you know, Marianne, I'm sure that you wake up every morning like everybody else in America, and you watch what is the focus almost 100% of the time of this conversation about what's going on at the border. And it must be, you must feel very ignored, very left out of what seems to be so heartbreaking and passionate for so many.
Thank you for having me. More than the feeling of being ignored is the feeling of just like desperate feeling that the American public needs to really know what's going on. And when you have a problem like what's happening at the border, you can't start at the end result and start placing blame. You have to go back to the origin of the problem. And that's what the parents, the mothers letting their children go with these smugglers and the cartel bringing these children to our borders. That's where the anger needs to be directed. It should not be directed at the United States for upholding its laws. And quite frankly, I'm happy that the United States was able to step in and save some of these children from the fate they were dealt, and who knows what was going to happen to them.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's worth pointing out that for many of these kids, the worst part of the journey has ended. You know, now they are in a safe place, and they're in an unfortunate situation in many of these cases. But as you also point out, the vast majority of them are coming over as unaccompanied minors. They're sent over or they're brought over by coyotes in a situation that can be very dangerous for them. Yes. Laura, you spoke today about your son. If you wouldn't mind again giving everybody at home a sense of what you went through and why this is so hard for you to watch.
Thank you. Yes, our story was just horrific, like all the other moms. You know, Josh went to school one day and he never came home, and that's forever. An illegal alien brought here by his parents when he was 10 years old, overstayed a visa, and he needed Josh's truck to scrap for some money, and he beat him in the head with a closet rod so hard it broke in 4 pieces. You know, he kicked him until his spleen sliced. He strangled him over and over and over again until he didn't breathe anymore. Then he tied him up like an animal and put him in a field and set him on fire. This is forever. I know they don't understand the meaning of suffering. We will suffer for the rest of our life on this earth. Hear about the loss of child. It's, you know, I would give anything to be able to Skype with him or talk to him or call him. You have to know that it happens more than anybody wants to report. I'm not, you know, we're not just 3 mothers up here. It's across the board everywhere you go. And it means so much to us to be able to follow the law. You know, those parents are in control of those children. They make decisions on their behalf. We would be charged with neglect if I made those same decisions for Joshua.
I understand.
You know, we would.
Agnes, you were also, your story was so moving today. I watched, and you did talk about President Trump and how you feel about what he has done in terms terms of priorities. And, you know, that is not the story that we're hearing in a lot of places. Most people are, you know, you look at the cover of Time magazine, and he's looking down at this little girl, and they're photoshopped together, and he's supposed to be this, you know, big evil person hovering over her. But that was not what you were portraying today at all. Tell me why.
Not at all. President Trump is a man of tremendous integrity, and he kept his word about protecting us and giving us a voice in the tragedies that fell on our families. Look, when I immigrated to this country, I was under the impression that my government was really taking care of us. And when my son was murdered, I didn't know for 11 years that the man that killed my son was an illegal alien, had an ICE hold. The media doesn't report truthfully what separation of families really is, but I would like to show everybody what real separation of families is. This is what separates my son and myself, is a coffin and 6 feet of dirt. How is that for real separation of families? And as a legal immigrant, I am really offended that Congress isn't working with President Trump to fix this mess. This has been going on for way too long, and we need to fix this, because if we don't fix it now, how many more millions are going to continue to come in and invade our country? We don't owe illegal aliens anything. We need to take care of our own. We have military, we have homeless people, we have children living in poverty. We need to take care of our own.
Well, we hope there'll be some kind of resolution. The president said today maybe Congress should wait until after November. He wants more Republicans on board. We'll see where it goes. Ladies, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Coming up next, President Trump unveils his plan to